Sometimes the simple act of naming something makes it all that much more real, makes it all that much more important. And I recently read about something called the effort-driven reward cycle. And I thought, that sounds kind of interesting. Let me read more about it. And when I read more about it, I was like, oh my God, this puts a name on something that I have been experiencing my whole life. And now I want to tell you all about it because now that I know it has a name, it's so much easier to talk about. So today, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the effort-driven reward cycle, what that is, and how it can help you feel happier and more accomplished without spending any more time on anything. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Do More, Stress Less podcast. I'm your host, Alexis Hasselberger, a time management and productivity coach. In every episode, I give you actionable, practical tips to help you learn to use your time in a way that feels good to you every day. No more hustling, scrambling, or struggling to keep your head above water. So let's dive in, and soon enough, you'll be doing more and stressing less. Okay, so have you heard of the effort-driven reward cycle? No? Well, I hadn't either until recently. But once I learned about it, I felt it so deeply in my bones because it's something that I'd been doing all my life without realizing it. And it's something that humans thrive on. So, what is it? Well, I asked my good friend ChatGPT for a one sentence definition, and here's what they said. The effort driven reward cycle is a behavioral loop where effort towards a task is motivated and reinforced by a rewarding outcome, encouraging the repetition of the behavior. Let me repeat that again, okay? The effort driven reward cycle is a behavioral loop where the effort towards a task is motivated and reinforced by a rewarding outcome, encouraging the repetition of the behavior. So essentially, the effort driven reward cycle is when you make or work on something and you receive immense pleasure from using that thing or experiencing that thing and the effort and what the effort of doing that thing has done for you. So you want to keep doing the thing, right? Doing the thing makes you want to keep doing the thing more. That's really what it is. So I want to give you some concrete examples of this. So it's like when you spend time weeding in your garden and planting flowers, and then you get to sit back and you literally smell the roses, right? You are encouraged and motivated to spend more time weeding and to spend more time planting flowers because you are enjoying the experience of those flowers so much. Or it's when you literally get to enjoy the fruits of your labor, right? You get to eat a carrot that you grew in the ground or in your windowsill planter, right? As the case may be. It's when you serve a delicious meal that you cooked and you get to eat it and enjoy it, and other people get to eat it and enjoy it. It's when you spend time on Duolingo for months, maybe, and then you realize that you can actually have a conversation in Spanish when you're in Mexico on vacation. It's when you spend hours practicing your violin and you move from screechy to beautiful. And the more you play, the more you want to keep playing because you get to hear that beautiful music. It's when you start exercising and then you notice that it's easier to carry those heavy grocery bags up the stairs or walk uphill without getting winded. It makes you want to keep exercising because you're experiencing those rewards. For me, it's when I use bowls that I made myself in the pottery studio. I get so much immense pleasure from being able to use things that I created with my hands. Or when I gift a hat that I knitted for a new baby to somebody in my community, and I get to see that little baby wearing that hat. Or for my sister, it's when she fills all the cracks in the plaster walls of her 1940s house and then repaints all the radiators and gets to like look back and enjoy the fruits of her physical labor in her house when she can look around and see how much nicer everything looks. So, in short, when you do the thing, you reap a reward. And that reward wants you to keep doing the thing, right? It makes you want to do the thing more, even when doing that thing is hard. And I think that's the key, right? Even when doing that thing is hard. Exercising, not always easy. For some people it is, but not for me, right? For me, learning how to make bowls that actually looked like bowls in the pottery studio was not easy. I could have given up. In fact, one of my kids said to me once, "Why are you doing something you're so bad at?" Right? And I had to say, well, I'm enjoying it, and two, I'm gonna get better, right? I won't get better if I don't keep trying. Um, when we're on the absorbing end, right? It's like the endlessly scrolling, when we're kind of receiving information instead of the making doing end of things, there's of course still pleasure to be had. Like I am a person who loves TV. I probably always will, right? But it's not the same. And it's perhaps a bit more fleeting, right? Binge watching TV, it's not nearly as satisfying to me at least as spending hours in the pottery studio. And let me say, I really do love binge watching TV. Although I just now am realizing, literally as I'm saying this, that I almost never watch TV without knitting needles or a crochet hook in my hand. So maybe I really like combining those two things. So, how can you be more satisfied with your time without actually getting any more of your time? I want you to figure out what hits that effort driven reward cycle button for you and experiment with swapping in one of those activities for something that's less satisfying than what you're currently doing, right? So I'm not saying take any more time. I'm just saying, are you doing something, spending your time on something that you could replace with something that hits that effort driven reward cycle button? What does it for you? Think about that and let me know. And that's a wrap on today's episode of the Do More, Stress Less podcast. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with somebody who could use a little less stress in their life. And make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're excited to take action or you need a little extra support, check out the free resources available on my website or schedule a free consultation call with me. You can do both of these at alexishasselberger.com. See you next time.